Hello. For this I Can with Canvas video, we're going to go over creating a button for a page. Creating a button in Canvas is fairly simple. It can be done in a variety of ways. I think that the key piece of knowing what a button is it's an image, a JPEG image, essentially, and it's made to be a hyperlink to help you have students click on the picture and navigate to where you would like them to go. That navigating could be to an external link, so perhaps like Dreambox, a different website, or it could be to other parts of your course, links within your course, and that really is the meat and potatoes of your course and how you have students get around. So I'm going to show you some from basic button creation to some external tools that might help you if you really want to get into more of a design for your buttons and creative letting your creativity or your own personal spin show on your course. The more detailed the buttons have, though, just keep in mind that it might be harder for students to access, especially if their internet connection is poor. So it is important to just keep in mind that although fancy pages are a lot of fun, it may get in the way of the ease of use for students. So just keep that in mind. Let's go on over to a course. Okay, so in this course, I'm going to start with just practically a blank shell, meaning I really haven't pulled a template over. Some of you might be starting from a template. I do recommend if you're starting just to play with this, you might want to play in a sandbox. You can start with a template. A template is essentially a course that already has buttons created and then some links probably already embedded to help start this process. But I'm going to start from a blank page. I'm going to call this page home page. It's important that you have a home page where your students can land. And again, the very basic way of creating a button might be using the images that are included with Canvas. Now, it's kind of interesting that Canvas gives images, but they don't give you images that you can change the text on or put text box over a image. So if you really want it to say the image to say a word and you want to be able to edit, that's where we get into a different tool that I'll show next. But for this sake, let's just see what it's like to make a button out of a picture. I do like to start from a table, especially when I'm building from scratch. I think a table helps organize buttons. So personally, I like to start with a table first. You can always move images into a table. And then I'm going to go ahead and go over to image. I am going to upload an image because I'm assuming I don't already have some that are in my Canvas account. And we're going to use Unsplash. Unsplash they partnered with Canvas so you have rights to these pictures to be able to use them in your course. You don't have to worry about the copyright of these images because they're free for you to use. So I don't know, you may want to pick if you want a certain design. Maybe you like mountains. We can choose a photo that has mountains. If you don't like that, you could do pencils if you want something for learning. Okay, so maybe we could do a notebook. Let's try it. All right, so I'm going to pick this notebook. Perhaps this notebook is for my, I am going to go back a moment. One moment. I'd like to actually go from that again because I do want to show you, again, upload image, Unsplash. Let's go to notebook. Now that I have selected the image, I do think it's very important to pause for a moment, scroll down here and describe the image. One of the benefits of using Canvas is Canvas works with screen readers and other tools for accessibility. And it's important that even if you don't think a student has a screen reader, it's important to fill these boxes in. It's a great UDL strategy and it just takes a moment and it makes for a true UDL course that's accessible to all. And if a button stops working, if the image goes away, it also will show this text. And so it's also helpful because if the image for some reason doesn't come up, then students can see the text that can help them with navigating. So one simple step, it's important to do. And again, you can even read what it tells you in this. So used by screen readers to describe the content of the image. So we will call this a notebook. All right, and if I want a student to click on this, I would say click for material or for modules. Maybe I want this to link to my modules page, okay? If you were just doing a decorative image that is not going to be a button, you would click on that for the screen reader to just skip over, but we don't need that for this case. Now that image is on your on your page, your rich content editor page. What's important here, and again, this is the basic steps for creating a button, is there's no way to put text using the native to Canvas tools. There's no way to just put a text over this, a text box or anything. So I would, underneath it in my table, I would then choose to write modules. And perhaps center that a little bit. Alrighty, oh, let's see, I'm getting a little turned around there. That's what I'm looking for, maybe. There we go. Okay, so what's important here is these are still just text and an image. To make this button a part of the course for students to use, you would need to have modules already created. So I'm going to go ahead and I have content already in my modules. So I'm going to link. I'm going to use that little chain link. And this is a course link. It's within the course I want students to navigate with. And this brings up these options I have. So I said I was going to do modules. Okay. And I'm going to have it go to my week 1. Now, because I have text here as well, and just for the sake of students not getting confused, I might also make this text a hyperlink as well, just in case they think they need to click on the text, or they can click on the text or the picture. Again, that's because this image that I created doesn't have modules over the top. So I'm going to just go ahead and do the same steps. Okay, and now I got that highlighted yellow, and it shows that it did it. So let's go ahead and save. All right, right now it's not published, but now if I click on this, you'll see that it's a live link that when I click on it does take me over to my modules, okay? So again, that's a basic way to make a button, and that's fine. There is nothing wrong with that. If you were happy with just putting an image there and putting the text underneath it, wonderful. Now, you might be wondering how people have created a little bit more intricate pictures that have a little bit of more text. There's a variety of tools out there that can help you get a JPEG or a picture onto your computer that then becomes something you can upload as a option in Canvas. So one of the most simple ways to do this is to go to Google Slides. We have it in FUSD, so if you go over to Google Slides, move it. And just start a blank presentation. If you're going to do a lot of these, you may call it Canvas buttons or something. So in your drive, you have a organized format. So I'm going to just call this Canvas buttons. All right. So you're going to want to start with a completely blank slide. Here, I'm just going to get rid of these text boxes. All right. And similar to how Canvas had images you could search, you can do that simply through Google Slides. And you can even just search the web. So a fun one I did with someone was a chalkboard. Not chalkboard paint. All right, so I'm going to put a chalkboard. Let's use this All right, and if you didn't like that one, you could do a different one. I just clicked it, drug it over here. All right. There's a couple ways of doing this, but essentially, if I do it this way, now I have options to do a text box. So just like if I was making a slide project, I could do a text box. Because this is black, I would go and change the color, perhaps to white. And then maybe I'll find a text, a font that I like. So just the size, very simple to do that. And perhaps I do this one about whatever the text I'd want it to say for students to navigate. So about, so maybe this is my about the teacher button. Okay. So I've got about the teacher, pretty simple. Once I'm done editing it and I make this a photo, I can't edit anymore unless I want to redo these steps. So you'll want to make sure that you do the editing here in Google Slides. Make it as large as you would like. Let's go even just like this. Okay. All right, Google Slides is a simple, has a great format, simple. So yes, this is really one of the most basic, another basic way of making buttons, and it's a great option. And again, we have this in FUSD. So about the teacher, there's my button. So you could go over here and save, download as a JPEG image for this current slide. Keep in mind, it's gonna, if you have any white around the edges, I believe it's gonna recognize that and keep it. I'm just gonna take a screenshot. So whatever you're familiar with, if you're not familiar with taking a screenshot, you may want to just download it as a JPEG and make sure that you're not bothered by any of the extra. Let's see, that changes it. There we go. Okay, so that's an option. I could essentially just download as a JPEG. And then now it's in my downloads right here. The other option some people have done is just take a screenshot of the portion that you'd like. And that also is now on my computer. So I have the screenshot will go to my desktop if I'm on a Mac. Dell's, it'll be a little bit different if you're using the snippet tool. It's probably in a file. Or again, that download, I have in my downloads now. So that button now is on my computer locally. Makes it super easy now to get it over to Canvas. So again, I'm doing the editing in Google Slides. Getting that image onto my computer. Now I can go place it. So let's do this text box. I need to edit my page. And I mean table, not text box. And in here, now I'm going to click on where I'd like the image to be. All right, same steps as before, a little change here in a moment. So I'm going to go over to images. I'm going to now, instead of going to course images, these images don't live anywhere in my Canvas account yet. I'm going to upload an image. And I got the same option, right? Unsplash is what we used before, but now instead I'm going to use upload image. So I can click here and have options for to get to my computer, or if you know how to drag and drop a file, you can do it that way as well. And there's my button. So now it's just an image. Again, you want to describe the image. That alt text is an important piece, and it just takes a moment. Okay, and again, it's gonna probably, that's a feature. I thought it was gonna come in a weird size, but that's one of the reasons I like to use the table. It kind of condenses it. And if I was going to use this format, I wouldn't be using this format at all as well, but this is just an example. So I may not need to put a text underneath it because the text is in the picture, essentially. Now, same steps as before. I'm going to highlight, I'm going to click on the picture, and now I'm going to have this take me to a course link. Alrighty, and now because I have an about the teacher page, I'm going to go ahead and link to about the instructor here. Okay, Now I got that highlight, it should be good to go. Alrighty, and when I click on that button now, it takes me to About the Instructor. Okay, it's important to check that when you have a button created, make sure that the page it's supposed to go to is published, or they won't be able to see it. So I do need to have that published, okay? Alrighty, one more way of making a button. This, it's not even so much, it's not even so much of a more advanced option. It's just a different tool. So slides is in FUSD. We have that as an option. So that's a great option for you. If you want to get maybe design-wise a little bit more creative or have some more suggestions if you're not really sure where to start, we like to use a tool, and we use the free version of this tool. It's called Canva, not to be confused with Canvas. So Canva. This is not a district tool. I'd like to make sure people, this is not something we have in our district. We don't have a paid account. This is just a third-party tool. And again, there's some other third-party tools people have done that are that help just generate buttons. That's fine too. Always be aware of what you're downloading. Make sure it's a trusted website. Canva is a trusted website. Again, it is not a district tool necessarily. But we do have a free account we use. So it's not paid. You could choose to pay. Again, not the district. And there's a lot of different options. This is a great tool to have just in general if you ever need to make posters or cards. But what I like to use for buttons in Canvas is I go to logos. So I just go to logo. It gives you a nice square to work with here. And then there's some designs here. All of these are editable. Not all of them are free. But it's kind of neat to see some designs that I didn't have to come up with. And I think that's the beauty of Canva. Some of them even move, and that's a whole nother piece. Again, be careful of how tricky you're getting. It might be hard for students to access if their connection isn't strong for internet. So I'm going to pick a photo or one that's just simple. Let's go to this Field Designs one. Okay. Now, let me adjust here a little bit. Okay, so now I get to edit a lot of this page. So it doesn't matter if you like the color, I can change it. So perhaps I want a different color. They give me a lot of different options here, so I might choose this color. And I want to change that as well. So just to click, I'm going to change that color. All right, and maybe I don't actually like the tree for this because perhaps I'd like this to be for discussions. And I might want to change the image here. So I'm going to go over here to Elements. And maybe I'll just do a search word for discussions. Now again, some of these, if it has like Pro, then you'd have to pay for it. This one is free. This one is free. So I think I'll pick this one. So I'm going to get rid of the tree in the background, just move this around. Again, you can change the colors. So if those colors aren't what you like, go ahead and I could change this so that anything that color becomes this color. And maybe we change this one, the color here to be black. And this one could be gray. Oops. And again, you can change whatever design you would like. Okay. You can change your font, color, just like in the images. You can change the font type to make it all caps or not. Let's see. You have a lot of different fonts to choose from. You do want to make sure it's something students can read easily, so you might want to consider which kind of font that you're choosing, that it's nothing too crazy. All right, so if this is the one I'd like to use, great. We're going to stick with that. Again, same with the slides. When you're creating in Canva, you need to do all your editing in Canva. Because once it's a picture, there's no more editing it unless you come back into Canva and re-download. So now I'm going to download this, and I'm going to download it just because I know JPEG works well with Canvas. I'm going to do that. Now, again, it went to my downloads. Okay, so again, however way you decide to get it onto your computer. Once it's on your computer, it becomes easier to work with. Moving back over to Canvas. Same steps now as what we did with adding to a page. Just before. So I am going to get this off my computer and have it become a part of Canvas for me. So I'm going to upload an image. This is computer. So it's on my computer. I'm going to drag and drop, but you could go search your computer as well. There's the image. Again, take that moment to do the alternate text. And we are going to submit. Now, remember you are able to change the size of the image if you need to. So by doing that, you can go to image options and then change your size here. But I'm happy with that size, so I'm going to leave it. Last step is I'm going to link this to discussions. I happen to already have discussions. Remember, if you don't have somewhere to link it to, you have to go create that and then have a place then to link to. So I'm going to go ahead and do discussions. Now, do remember you can do external links. So say I wanted to do Dreambox here. I could have called this Dreambox and had it be an external link. So maybe we'll go over that here in just a second. So now that was in discussions. Or that's the name of this. I'd like it to go to discussions. Alrighty, and I didn't do it correctly. I'm going to try that one more time. I need to make sure that it's there's a blue box around the image. And I'm going to link it. Now let's take it over to the discussion board I'd like. Now I have the indicator of that yellow flash highlighting it. I'm going to save. And now that button takes me over to a discussion board that I have. All right, so that's how you create buttons easily. Do remember that you do want to make sure that you have rights to use the image. That's what's important. That's why the steps of going through creating your own buttons is a good practice, because you don't want to be worried about copyrights. And you might want to even be careful. It's popular to get a logo from a company and have that as a picture, and then that's the link it takes you to. But just remember, if you don't have copyright to that image, you technically aren't using the image appropriately. So just keep that in mind. So same idea, if I wanted to do an external link, I'm going to do this just for the sake of time here. I'm going to just do one here, and perhaps we'll do image that's in that Unsplash. So just for the sake to show you a little different here. Let's go math. Okay. So for math, if I find an image I want, and again, you could create your own button, whatever it is. Maybe I want this to be for Dreambox Math. I want it to be. So again, I might make this a Dreambox or something, but it's the same steps. I just want you to see these steps here, and I'm going to take a moment to adjust. Having a hard time there. There we go. And I can do image options. Nope. Well, that's if I want to change the size, but I'm going to go ahead. Instead of course links like I've been showing you, I'm going to do external link. You're going to need to be able to paste a URL. So Perhaps it was Dreambox. Student login. You want it to go right where you want students to take it to land. So I'm going to grab that URL, go back here, put that link here. Now I got the same indication that it works. So let's go take a look now at our course we created here, or our homepage. So now I can click on there. It takes the student or the person clicking to Dreambox. So same concept, but it can take you to an external link. One thing I want to remind people or show is it is important that if you're going to be doing rearranging after you've spent all this time linking and making these buttons, if I decide to go and move a button, sometimes that breaks the link, so you may just have to relink it. So just keep in mind you may have to relink something. So if I moved it down here, I don't think that link's going to be clickable anymore. I can check that by going over here to link. And actually, if it had a link there, it would show. So see how that blue image or that blue arrow shows right here? If there's a link attached to that photo, you could either edit the link or remove it. But see over here, I can tell I don't have that option. So I need to recreate that link. Again, course links. It's not hard to recreate the link, but just know that if you start rearranging buttons, you may lose the link and have to relink it. I hope that's helpful for you in being able to design and create buttons for students. Remember, keeping it basic is great. You want students to be able to get to where they need to go. And those are some options, although there are many other options on how you can create buttons, but hopefully you have a few in your toolbox now for your course pages.